Okay, we're good. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the River Falls Planning Commission meeting of May 4th. The first thing we'll do is say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Brandy, can we have a roll call, please?
Moody.
Here.
LaRue.
Here.
Odine.
Here.
Holtkamp.
Here.
Huffland.
Here.
Prendergast is excused, and Mayor.
Here. Okay, next we'll move on to approval of the minutes from the April 7th Planning Commission meeting.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I just got
Yes.
a message from the Renslows that they are not able to hear the meeting. I don't know if that's something John can address before you
Okay.
go.
John, they can't hear it on their end?
The Renslows are messaging me and it's coming up, they cannot hear anything.
Oh, have them check where the mute is and go to settings.
Okay,
And
okay.
then they can change the settings there. See if I.
All right.
Use
Yeah,
computer
just-
for audio.
It shows up on my screen, but I'm afraid to touch it in case I lose everybody. So, all right, continue. Forgive me.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
Are we okay?
Well, I haven't heard back, but.
It looks okay on this end.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, so I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from the April 7th Planning Commission meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes of the April 7th Planning Commission meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, Brandy, you have first and second on the meeting minutes from April 7th.
Roll call this time. Huffland.
Aye.
Holtkamp.
Aye.
Odine.
Aye.
LaRue.
Yes.
Moody.
Aye.
And Mayor.
Yes. Okay, next we'll move on to public comments. John, did we have anybody in the audience or on the phone?
Yes, there's someone in the audience here that would like to speak.
Okay. Is that you, Mike?
Yes, 1 minute, we'll get them up to you.
Go ahead.
Hey, Mike, if you want to let them know if they want to talk about my mind has gone blank on me. If they want to talk about the Riverside cottages, well, that's what the public hearing's for. But if they're here for something else, that's what we'll hear.
Nope, it's about the Riverside cottages.
Okay. If you want, he can talk now. That's fine.
Okay. Well, my name is Jim Sullivan. I live at 135 Cascade Court. And I'm here pretty much to learn about the proposal a little more in depth and listen to that. But I also want to just reiterate our concerns with the changes to the street that it would make. In talking with the neighbors, we are not against the development of the two lots, or well, there's three, but one's not buildable. We're not against housing going into those areas. The key issue that we have is the effect it would have on the Cascade State Street, the increase in traffic and what that will do. Right now, I know in the syllabus that was attached for the proposal, it stated that right now State and Cascade streets are normal streets. They're really not. The entrance to State Street is more like a driveway. It has a cement apron that is an incline up to the sidewalk, and then the street starts on the other side. In the wintertime, we do not have the full-size snowplows plowing our street. They cannot continue off of State coming into our area, they have to have pickup trucks come back with plows. The street is 24 feet wide. And in the wintertime, when it's plowed, you cannot pass. What you need to do is we just see another car coming, we either wait or pull into another driveway if a car goes by. But it is plowed to the point where you really can't pass without going up into the snow. With that in mind, like I said, we are not against, or I should say I'm not a speaker for anyone else. I'm not against the development of that area. I would have always liked to see a single family home go back in to replace the 4th single family home that is on Cascade State Street. There have been a total of 4, and the proposal now wants to add basically 7 more to that. So we would, because one is replacing, that just seems like a large increase. One thing that I was very pleased to see is that on the proposal, there is access to Main Street. That is a very good benefit. Unfortunately, with access to Cascade, that's going to increase traffic even more. I know it was projected that there would be about 48 to 52 trips added to Cascade Street. It's going to be much more than that. If you have access to Main Street and Cascade, people are going to use that as a bypass. That's going to become a shortcut when you, in the summertime on Park Avenue or Park Street, we have a lineup to turn north, and people are just going to start using our street as a shortcut. And we don't want to see that happen. What I would really like to see is development of the area with Main Street as the access. If you separated one of the homes onto Cascade where the existing home was that burned down, that would be wonderful. But just don't have pass-through access. Have access for the other 7 homes on Main Street. We're concerned a bit about the rental. We don't want to see that be student housing. We would like to see that be some type of clause or something in there that it's not student housing. We have had issues with, before there were parties, people parking on Cascade and then walking through to other homes and having allowed parties there. We have very good neighbors right now. It is actually a rental house and they are students. So we've probably on our 3rd group, and we have not had a single issue with any one of those 3. I am concerned about seeing that they want to vacate part of Cascade. Right now, Cascade extends 94 feet past the last 2 driveways that are in operation that attach to homes that are existing. I'm curious to see tonight how far past those driveways they want to vacate the street to allow those 2 residents enough room to back out of their driveway and turn on to or head towards State Street. I am concerned about the wintertime as well. Right now, when they do plow the street, they pile the snow up at the end of Cascade Street. If that is vacated and that becomes an opening, where is that snow going to go? Especially if it's being vacated all the way back to the property lines of the 2 existing homes there. I just don't know if there's been any discussion with the city streetworks or not to see what they plan on doing or what they could do. I think that needs to be taken into account. Other issues that I have a concern with is when you say that traffic will increase about 40, I think it was 48 to 54 trips per day. You have to take into account though, again, and I mentioned this first of all, is that you're going to see that in probably into the hundreds in the summertime if the plan proceeds as projected. I don't see why access needs to be to Cascade. I don't see why it cannot be on Main Street only. That would take traffic off of Park Street that you're originally proposing to route to that. Those 8 homes would now just go onto Main Street directly. They would not need to be part of the congestion that's already existing on Park. And that I see that the purpose of this meeting is also to express a need to change some of the existing requirements that we all have, such as lot width, area, building setback, and the private street size. What is being requested is that that all be basically diminished by 50%. Is that really in the best interest? I want to see homes built there. 8 seems excessive. I think if there was 1 home built to access Cascade, 4 homes built in there to access Main Street, I think 5 homes would be very nice. I think that would fit much more into the area. I see the area every day. I have a hard time trying to see how 8 homes will fit in there and not just look congested. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Mike, is there anybody else?
Nobody else in chambers.
Okay,
There are a few people online, but I think they're for the developers.
okay. Okay, so let's move on to the public hearing. So I'll close the planning commission right now and open up a public hearing on the preliminary plat and general development plan for Riverside Cottages at 641 South Main Street. And seeing Mr. Sullivan have already spoken, was there anybody else there that would like to say something about this?
There's no one else here, no.
Okay, and we're gonna, I'll leave the public hearing open just in case Mr. Sullivan has another question after Brandy gives her presentation. Brandy, would you like to give your presentation to us now?
Sure would.
Thank you.
Mr. Reardon, could you allow me to share, please? Thank you. Okay, I think we're good. Good evening, everybody. As you know, we're here to talk about the Riverside Cottages proposal, and tonight we're looking at the general development plan and the preliminary plat. So if you can recall, the applicant, Mr. Gordon Awesome, he submitted a number of conceptual layouts for this area, and staff and the Plan Commission have met with him on a couple of occasions to discuss some options for the site, the most recent of which was in March of this year. So the current proposal is to develop 8 small lot single-family homes at 121 Cascade Court and 641 South Main Street. Other layouts that were considered on this site were set closer to the river, and they were of a significantly higher density, about 30 plus units. And those options were not very well received by neighbors at the public hearings, or public comment periods rather. And Plan Commission kind of also raised some hesitations as well. The 8-unit concept was discussed in March, and it was more favorably received by Planning Commission, and that is why Mr. Awesome is moving forward with the submittal at this time. So the development site is approximately 1.6 acres, and that includes both of the addresses that I mentioned and a portion of Cascade Court that the applicant has requested be vacated. As mentioned, the applicant's plan is to build 8 small lot single family homes that would be split levels, served by a private shared access drive. Each house footprint would be about 1,500 square feet, which includes the 2-car garage. The proposed density for the site is 5 dwelling units per acre. Mr. Awesome states in his application that he intends to rent out the units for approximately 6 to 10 years, but they could be made available for sale at a later date, which is why he's also requesting the preliminary plat at this time. The site is currently zoned R1 single family, and in order for this development to move forward, a planned unit development is needed. And the 4 flexibilities that are being requested under the PUD are related to lot width, lot area, building setbacks, and the private street. The lot width minimum in the R1 district is 75 feet, and the smallest of the proposed lots are about 40 feet for the preliminary plat. The minimum lot area of the R1 district is 7,500 square feet. And the proposed lots range from about 3,200 to 4,700 square feet. The minimum front and minimum rear setbacks, which are 20 and 25 feet respectively, they are not being met. The proposed front setbacks range from about 7 to 12 feet, and the rear setback for the homes on the south side is about 7.5 feet. The subdivision ordinance requires land be dedicated for public streets to serve lots. A private street is proposed for this project to serve these 8 lots, and the right-of-way of which measures 30 feet in width, which is a little bit smaller than what our minimum requirement is of 50 feet for local streets. So as a reminder, the general development plan is the first step in the PUD process. And this is where we get to look at the conceptual layout of the project. So as we consider whether or not this is an acceptable PUD, the Plan Commission shall consider the criteria that are listed in the municipal code, as well as its consistency with the comprehensive plan, the official map, and public benefits. So those criteria are listed on the screen. We'll talk through them in the next slides, but community benefit, character and intensity of land uses, provision of municipal services, intensity on school enrollment, traffic, the economic impact, the engineering design, park and open space, and then the comp plan consistency. So this project creates small single lot family housing. This is a product that is reminiscent of the earliest platted parts of town that are in low supply in the market. The proposed use in the general layout is generally compatible with the single family homes to the west. The density is 5 units per acre, which is compatible with the single family zoning. The main difference in this project is that the units are clustered, which is a little bit atypical for a single family R1 district. The renderings of the proposed building elevations are shown on the screen, and as well as a streetscape image from Google Maps. And the main difference in character between the proposed buildings and the neighboring structures is that there are front-facing garage on smaller lots. So a land swap is proposed as part of this development project. The areas are shown in orange. So in exchange for the approximately 4,500 square feet of right-of-way to be vacated at Cascade Court, staff has requested approximately 45 feet. Works out to be a pretty even swap of land to be dedicated along South Main Street. And the purpose of that is so that we can maintain consistency with the official map. And if we need to expand Main Street or reconstruct the bridge over the South Fork, we have the necessary right-of-way to do that. The area in green represents the approximate land that would be needed for the park and open space dedication requirement. If you read the staff report, we mentioned a possible easement, but at this point, we're looking at, it makes more sense to have the parkland dedication requirement be the land abutting the ordinary high water mark. And the reason for that is that we could put a future trail there potentially that would connect to the Glen Park Trail system, and it would also meet the open space requirement along the river. So the project is laid out. We'll make use of the existing curb cut access to Main Street as a right-in, right-out configuration. A development of this nature is anticipated to generate 60 to 70 trips per day. Staff estimates that 80% of those will be northbound, requiring the use of Cascade Court and State Street. This will create traffic on those streets, a little bit more traffic than what's there today. However, both of those streets are classified as local roads and are constructed to accommodate this volume. The remaining 20% of trips are expected to be southbound onto Main Street and are insignificant to current volumes on Main Street. Other things to consider is school enrollment and economic impact. The developer estimates the project will be approximately valued at $2.2 million, and very few school children are anticipated to be part of this project, maybe one child in the whole thing based on American Planning Association data. So notification letters were mailed out to property owners within 300 feet of the proposed development. That's above and beyond what is required by ordinance. We also put a public hearing notice in the paper that was published on April 29th. I received one phone call from a neighboring property owner, and I thought she was going to be here tonight to speak out on this. I'm not sure if she's pro or against, but I'm wondering if she's one of the people on the phone. And, oops. Sorry about that. Next steps. The project is still under staff review. We had a development review meeting with the applicant, and we have issued a memo to the developer with some required revisions. So this item is simply being brought forward tonight for the public hearing portion to be in line with the section 1772 of the municipal code. Staff is anticipating that we'll get revisions in time for the June 1st meeting, at which time Plan Commission may act on both the preliminary plat and the GDP at that time. So at this point, I will turn it back over to the mayor. After I figure out how to stop sharing. There we go.
Mayor, I think you're muted.
That, are we just talking about that? So after the presentation, I don't know if Mr. Sullivan, if he had any other questions, if he's still there, and Mike, if you could ask him if there's anything else he wanted to talk about or ask.
Yeah, he's
And then
still here. We're checking with him now.
Okay, thanks.
He said he'd like to wait till after the developer comments.
Okay. Well, I'm closing the public hearing, so if he wants to talk, now would be the time. If he has specific questions, he could ask the developer a question. We can bring him online.
Okay, 1 minute.
Mayor, I'm not sure if staff has checked with the folks that are on the call-in to see if they wanted to provide public comment.
Okay. Did they call in and talk to us, or are they just online?
Well, I believe the developer and the Renslows are on. I'm not sure if anyone else
They're on
is.
right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I just brought them in, so they're on
Okay.
online.
Okay. Okay. So if there's anything they want to say, let them.
Hello.
Yep. Go
Hello,
ahead,
Mayor
Gordon.
and planning commission members. This is Gordon Awesome from Kinnickinnic Township, and I'd love to answer Mr. Sullivan's questions, and if staff would like to give him my cell phone, I could talk to him later too. But I've written down some responses to his comments, but if he'd like to ask me some questions first or during the meeting, as you may permit.
Okay. I don't know if Mr. Sullivan had any specific questions.
He's coming up to the podium just a minute.
Yep, that's fine.
He's got nothing right now.
Okay. Go ahead, Gordon.
Okay,
If there's
well,
anything you wanted to talk about.
I guess, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for having the hearing today. We've been working diligently on trying to make this site work for a year and a half. And in the development business, I only try to give the customer what they want. And in this case, it's a number of customers. It's residents, bankers, it's city officials, it's staff. We've ended up with this proposal for 8 single-family homes. I will say it's a real struggle to make the economics work for that small density but we're trying to do it. So I can't tell Mr. Sullivan that there's much chance that we would move forward with less units, and that would be up to somebody else to do in the future. But we are trying to build a top quality product that is a net zero energy, U.S. Department of Energy rated home with solar panel systems on the roof. And the initial elevations that I sent Ms. Howe have been much changed and improved. They're still 28 by 40 foot houses. They still are effectively split level walkouts on the riverside and one level houses on the other side, the south side with full basements. But we envision that they'll have all horizontal siding, not vertical siding. That'll be LP smart siding, most likely. Every house will be different color, different trim. There'll be top quality finishes inside. I don't think I can put in any covenants that you can't rent to students, but that's not the intent. The intent is to have multifamily housing with 3 bedrooms, 2 baths that we can get a good rent for, and that it's not going to take a lot of abuse and wear and tear. Mr. Sullivan, you did say you had some students on Cascade Court and they weren't a problem. And I will tell you, having been a landlord for many decades, that it doesn't matter the age, it can be good or bad, but we're going to screen people very well and make sure that we rent to people that have the ability to pay the rent and not abuse the product. As to your comments about gate to entry from Main Street only, I guess that's going to be more of a staff issue. I'm not opposed to it, but it's a whole other set of circumstances. We could make it a gated community with entry from Main Street to control traffic. We could put bumps in the road. There's things that we can do and study and work with staff. So again, I would be happy to talk more with anybody that wants to about it if staff wants to give my number to them public. And anyway, we hope to bring a final product forward that's very much in character with what we're presenting tonight. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, is anybody, is Mr. Sullivan still around? Does he have any other questions you'd like to ask Mr. Awesome?
Yes, and thank you very much for the proposal or the presentation. When looking at the drawings, I'm just curious to know what is the percentage for the entire lot of percentage of grass, percentage of building, and percentage of pavement?
Well, the setback from the river is over 100 feet. And the site, I think, is, I'd have to look at it again, but it's about 200 feet, I think. So, I mean, it's got to be 40% open space, I think. I'll get you the exact numbers, though.
Okay. Okay, and I will pick up your card from them, too. Thank you very much for offering.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm assuming that was it for Mr. Sullivan, and we have nobody else on the phone that wants to from the public that wants to talk about this. Is that correct, Mike or John?
That's correct. There's no one else in chambers.
Okay.
No one else on the phone.
Okay, so I will close the public hearing and reopen up the planning commission. And now, if there's planning commission members have questions for staff or Mr. Awesome. No questions?
Well, it's not really a question, but you know, the concern about the using Cascade Court as a shortcut to avoid congestion at Park, because it's going to be, you know, southbound only, seems like it would limit a lot of that cut through. So it may not be as much of an issue of that kind of using it as a through traffic. point as well, because people would have to go south from the property on the main street. So that made less of an issue than might otherwise be if it were a left-hand turn out of there going north.
Yeah. Diane, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just wondering if either staff or Mr. Awesome had, any, I'm a visual person, had any photographs of similar little, created neighborhoods or, I know there aren't any here in town, but, just wondered if there were some elsewhere that either inspired this project or are similar to it.
There are lots of them, and some of the best examples are on the last RFP that I saw from your planning department regarding the acreage south of town. Brandy, do you remember that? What was that called? It wasn't a property of the city. We were doing an RFP for some landowner.
We did do a RFP for Cindy Haskins.
Yeah,
Who
I think.
has land off of Highway 29. I don't
Anyway.
recall the cottage style. I don't recall the example that you're referring to though, but I would be able to find it in the RFP.
Yeah, you had a link to cottage housing, and I can find more, but there are lots of them. And the cottage concept has variations. A lot of times it is where you have a central common and you have the parking surrounding it. And the problem in Wisconsin is you need garages in the winter, so it doesn't work very well. So for this site, we have the river as the commons, the riverside, and we have access from the common driveway essentially, and some front porches and a little bit of land in front, but the amenity is the river in this case. And I would say as far as the setbacks and the distance between houses, even in traditional neighborhoods now, 10 feet is typical between houses for setbacks, just given the cost of land and development. So this is, it really isn't out of character with current development standards. And if we can afford it, we'll build it. And if we can't afford to build it with top quality materials and solar net zero features, we're not going to build it. We'll let somebody else do it because it's really tight right now on the costs. The costs are going up like crazy, and the rents I don't think are going to. So.
Okay. Anybody else have questions?
I guess
Yep. Go ahead, Chris.
one more, sorry. Is there, what about landscaping on, the side facing the neighbors on that kind of west end of the property? Could there be, is the intention to have like some screening landscaping there to kind of buffer from the existing homes on that side, or what would the plan be for that?
Well, there is some adjacent to the home. I don't think, honestly, you can put much more there because you've got a very a pile of snow, as Mr. Sullivan pointed out. You've got just a little tip of land to pile snow at the entrance to Cascade Court. And then at the entrance from Main Street, you've got a couple of ponding areas to pile snow. So we're going to have a good setback in green space from the street. I would say from Cascade Court, you just aren't going to have as much screening.
Okay. Patricia, you had your hand up.
Yes, I mentioned this last time you were before us, but I appreciate and applaud your net zero goals. I think that if you are able to put this up and show the community that these type of housings can be successful. I like the idea that they're going to be different colors. They're not going to, look like those, little pre-war houses type things. And I know you've been I was in the audience when you were here a year and a half ago, and you're just so flexible trying to keep things within our community. And I hope this is successful because again, you're net zero. I just want to show people you can have a net zero house and it can be cool. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And I unfortunately didn't get the latest elevations to Ms. Howell in time to put them up for you. But what we're planning is having all LP smart siding, everyone in a different color with the windows trimmed in a different color. It's I think as good a siding look as you can put on something like this cottage development. And then we had also shown some limestone trim around columns and those sorts of things.
Craig, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just have a couple of comments, Mayor. And then the question to Gordon. Do you have any idea what you're estimating the rent to be?
I do. I'm estimating $1,950 per month for a 3-bedroom house on the south side with a 5% vacancy, which means I'd collect 18 average in a year. And on the north side, I'm hoping to get a little bit more than that, but those probably have the walkouts finished. The trouble is it's hard to see those kind of numbers in River Falls. That's a real stretch for River Falls right now. 1,750 a month is sort of top of the market. But these, you're going to have a very low electric bill. You're going to have solar power. I think you're going to have some efficiency, so we're hoping we can get it. So that's where I see it.
All right. Yeah, thank you. And I think where I was, where I was going with this, my thinking is that these are not the prices that the students are going to be looking for. Although if you jam a few of them in there like they do, I guess it becomes more feasible to them. But the other thing I'd have to say is I'm in agreement with Patricia, net zero, solar, everything. I have that. I'm a huge believer that I am net zero. Actually, I think I'm net below zero. So I love the technology in that, and I think we need to do more of that as a committee here. So that's all I have for you, Gordon. And the rest of the things I have is probably for the staff. And that is Mr. Sullivan's concerns about the winter maintenance, the snow removal. I would imagine this is going to be something like a cul-de-sac area, and maybe we haven't thought about this yet. That sort of removal. Jim Sullivan has talked about the narrow roads. I've driven that road. I have some concern about that. I'm wondering if there's curb and gutter that's going to be put in there. Or any type of widening. What are the winter maintenance plans and those sorts of things? Then the last comment is that the only way to go north out of that is you do have to go down State Street. So yeah, obviously there will be some of those folks heading south, but State Street will have increased traffic. Although those numbers seem high to me. I live in like a horseshoe with a lot more houses than this development, and I don't see the development. I think that there'll be, if there's staffing with the university, there'll be more walking, biking, and sorts of things. So that's just my opinion on that. But anyway, that's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Crystal, would you like to comment on the roads at all? I'm not sure if you're prepared for that.
Sure, I can say a couple of things. I know when we first looked at this earlier this week as staff, Mike Stifter and his crew were wondering, what are we going to do with snow? And they've been thinking through that. That's not decided yet. We've asked that that Gordon provide an access easement through the site. His initial thought was that he would push the snow all the way through, but it's still in the works of where the snow is going to go for these roads.
Okay.
As far as Craig's question about curb and gutter, at this time, we wouldn't be planning on putting curb and gutter on State Street or on Cascade Court. They would be left how they are right now.
Okay, anybody else have questions or comments? Okay. Okay. So let's move on to number 3 is a resolution to approve a certified survey map creating lot 1 for Dawes Place. And Brandy, I believe you have a little presentation for us.
Brandy, you're muted.
Okay. I said, hopefully this will be a quick one. Okay, so tonight we're going to review the CSM Certified Survey Map for Dawes Place. As you know, Trevor Bruce of B Restoration, he's been working on this townhome project in the Highview Meadows neighborhood. The project received specific implementation plan approval at the last city council meeting on April 27th. So in addition to the PUD approval, a certified survey map is necessary for this project in order to create the lot with which to build the project. So typically, certified survey maps are reviewed and approved by staff. However, per state law, a CSM that reconfigures lots that cross the boundary of a recorded subdivision, they have to be approved in the same manner as the original plat was approved. So in our ordinance, we require plats be reviewed by Plan Commission first and then approved by City Council. So in order to comply with state law, the CSM must be reviewed by Plan Commission and then approved by Council instead of just staff led. So on screen is a snippet of the CSM that creates the development site, excuse me, which is lot 1. You can see that here, it's this outline. It crosses the boundary of 2 recorded subdivision plats, Highview Meadows first and second editions, and therefore it must be reviewed by Plan Commission and Council to meet state law. So staff reviewed the CSM against the subdivision ordinance and the Wisconsin Platting Manual, and we found it to be in full compliance with both, and staff has no issues or concerns with the CSM other than a typo of the mayor's name on the following page, or on page 2. So staff, under normal scenario, we would just approve this, and if this process wasn't required. So therefore, staff recommends that Plan Commission forward the resolution to City Council with a positive recommendation. And with that, I will hand it back over to the mayor.
Thanks, Brandy.
Yep.
I could always change my name if you guys don't want to change the writing. So I'll take a motion on this first.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for the certified survey map creating lot 1 for the development for Dawes Place Phase 1.
I'll second that.
Okay. So we have first and a second discussion, questions, comments on this? No? Okay. Brandy, we have first and a second on the resolution to approve a certified survey map for Dawes Place for lot 1.
Moody,
Aye.
LaRue,
Yes.
Bodine,
Aye.
Holtkamp,
Aye.
Hoffland,
Aye.
and Mayor.
Aye. Okay, next is an ordinance to repeal and replace section 17.104.04 of the municipal code related to special use permits, and I will take a motion on this.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion in repealing and replacing the section 17.104.040 of the municipal code relating to the special use permits.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have first and a second. Okay, discussion or comments? Does anybody have
I
any
do, but
questions? Yep.
well, it's not quite, well, I do have questions. And I don't know if Ms. O'Dean saw the last, our workshop, but first, the way we're going about this, if you'll just humor me here for a second, my understanding is currently an application goes to the zoning administration. The zoning submits it to the plan commission. Plan commission holds a public hearing with a 10-day notice. Plan commission sends its findings to the council and the council either approves or denies it. What we're trying to do now is the application is going to the community development. Are they the same people? Community development and zoning administrator? Okay. So then they refer it to the plan commission and we hold a meeting and then we either approve or deny, and it does not go to the city council. And as I mentioned at the workshop, I have a problem with not, besides the mayor and Miss O'Dean, who at least Miss O'Dean is a public member at large. When it was just someone who had a district, that district would have a larger voice in what was going on. But I really think that these things should go to a city council, to elected officials to make these decisions. And, you know, I guess I don't understand why. I know we try to be efficient and fast, but sometimes things need to be deliberate. And I don't know why we are cutting the city council out of that final yes or no.
Well, I think, Amy, you can talk about this, or Brandy, but I think what we're doing is either we're cutting them out of the process or we're cutting us out of the process. I think the reason we recommended us doing it is because we're the ones that deal with zoning ordinances and stuff like that all the time. That doesn't mean we have to do it. There's different options we can do. Brandy or Amy?
Yes, Mayor, you're correct. Yes,
Okay,
so
so-
this needs to be a quasi judicial system in the future, which means that it can't go to both. It needs to go to either plan commission or council. And in discussions with the mayor and the city administrator and staff, correct, because plan commission deals in zoning much more than council does, it was decided to put forth that plan commission could be the body that takes up the special use permits.
So then, oh, I'm sorry. Miss O'Dean had her hand up.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah,
Go
my
ahead.
understanding from this is also that it keeps the first appeal local. If it went straight to city council and they had a problem with what happened at city council, they would go right to circuit court. In this case, it goes to the local zoning board, giving us another chance to fix it locally. I mean, at least that's my understanding of this process, which I think has some advantages. And Amy, please correct me if I'm wrong about that.
That's correct, yes.
So then logistically, someone wants to contact each one of us and they want to talk to us and appeal to us, et cetera. Our names, phone numbers, addresses are not on the website. So is this a situation where when a special use permit comes up that our names, addresses, emails, phone numbers, I'm in the phone book, so you can get a hold of me anytime. But that was another concern because there's sometimes I've been trying to get a hold of something other than the city council, and it's not easy to find those people.
So Amy, seeing as this is going to be a quasi judicial, we shouldn't really be discussing this with them anyway, should we?
Differently. Randy, I think you're muted. Were you trying to jump in?
I was trying to say that you were muted. I couldn't hear you. Could you repeat that, please?
Oh.
I'm sorry, repeat what I said?
I couldn't hear what Amy was saying.
Yeah, I was saying that the mayor is correct because the SUPs are going to function from a quasi judicial perspective, that the plan commissioners wouldn't be discussing the project with the applicants.
Well, not necessarily a discussion, but being able to call someone and say, I live next door. This is my concern, so that the plan commission has an understanding that, because we may not know all the issues unless someone actually tells us, here's an issue for it, or here's the advantage of having it. And yeah, I agree, there shouldn't be a full-blown conversation, but we can't possibly know all the reasons for and against before we meet. Without, if people aren't able to get in contact with us, send us an email, that kind of thing. So I just feel strongly that these are decisions that should be in the hands of our elected officials, and that's just my thinking.
They wouldn't be able to do the same. They wouldn't be able to do the same thing with them either. So it's going to be the same. Yep. Go ahead, Diane.
I'm just saying that speaking as myself on city council, this committee knows a lot more about the issues that would come up than city council did, and you develop a certain expertise. It's kind of similar to the utility commission, the utility board. These are a little bit specialized areas of municipal functioning, and there's something to be said for having a little bit more knowledge about it. I think you make better decisions. So I personally don't have a problem designating that authority with this group. Anyway, that's just my perspective. And as for being lobbied, it's like, you may not be elected officials here on this, but you are being public servants. So that comes with the territory a little bit.
And kind of what Patricia was talking about, not knowing all the pros and cons of it. When they come to us with this, being the way it's set up, and Amy, tell me if I'm wrong, both sides will be able to get up and talk about pros and cons of this, right?
Yes, so that's correct. And Ms. LaRue, I'm happy to, when we meet in a couple of weeks, to kind of go through how the Zoning Board of Appeals functions, because that's how, when an SUP comes forth, the Plan Commission will need to function. It will be a different process that we'll go through. Yes.
We will be hearing public comment on that.
Yeah, I mean, essentially there will be presentation by both sides, the applicant as well as staff. So.
And isn't the idea with because of the new regulations, after we go through the comp plan process, and we'll probably end up revising the zoning code, that a lot of the special use permits are going to kind of go away anyway? So this won't be probably a common thing we have to deal with anyway after the comp plan process and code revisions, right?
We could choose to go that direction after the comp plan, yes.
Okay, any other questions or comments on this?
I have one that's not controversial. I promise. On the first page of the resolution, it says 5. And then if you go over to the second page, there's an I and II. And it says any condition imposed under C, and that should be D. Because this is C. D is the conditions down below. Okay, that's it.
Did you get that? Did you get that, Brandy? Okay, thanks. Okay, thanks, Patricia. Okay, anybody else have anything on this? Okay, Brandy, we have first and a second on the special use permit to repeal and replace section 17-104-040, the municipal code.
Coughlin,
Aye.
Holcamp,
Aye.
Odine,
Aye.
LaRue,
No.
Moody,
Aye.
and Mayor.
Aye. Okay, up next we'll have Amy, the Community Development Director, will give us her director's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a long list for you this evening, but I do want to let you know about some staffing changes that are happening in the department. In fact, this is Planner Sam Wessel's last Plan Commission meeting. Sam has taken a position with the city of Wausau. And so his last day with us will be the 18th of this month. So we're very sad to see Sam go. He's been with us for, I think it's just over 3 years. And so in addition to an assistant city engineer, a planning and engineering technician, we will now be looking for a planner replacement as well for our department. So amongst our busy development season, we're looking to staff up as well. So other than that, I can take questions if anybody has any.
Anybody have anything for Amy? Nope. Amy, you guys are doing such a great job. There's one.
I
ahead,
just wanted
Diane.
to say, I see Sam in the corner of my screen. I just wanted to thank him for all of the work
Yep.
he's done for helping build River Falls. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been fun seeing how much has gotten done in the last few years and how much is on my list I have to come back and see once it's done being built.
Sam, I'll miss you
Yep.
teaching my classes for me. Appreciated you doing that.
Yeah, thank you for asking me. That was fun.
Good. You'll be missed, Sam. Now, you know Wausau is a lot worse town than River Falls, right?
I'll wait
Let's
for my
just fix
first
that,
date.
right?
Make that call.
Okay. Okay. So I'll take a motion to adjourn.
This is Patricia. I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, Brandy, we have first and second to adjourn.
Okay, Moody,
Aye.
LaRue,
Yes.
Odine,
Bye.
Holtcamp,
Aye.
Hoffland,
Aye.
and Mayor.
Aye.
Brandy,
We're adjourned.
Brandy, do you mix up the names on purpose, or do you just have the list that you? Because it always throws me off. I'm always like waiting when you're going to call my name.
Well, now that you ask, Christy mixes it up, so I'm trying to follow Christy.
Okay.
It's
Keep us on our toes for sure.
If you want me to just be consistent and read my list, I can do that.
No,
too.
I like it.
Oh,
It
no.
keeps me on my toes.
That way you know he's paying attention.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Everybody have a good
Good
night.
night. Yep.
Thanks, everybody. Bye now.